So this is the first cell phone add-on lens that I actually like. It's the Moment T Series Macro 75. No, this is not sponsored. These are just my first impressions, but I'm telling you now, this one's probably going to end up sticking with me for a while and not just end up on Facebook Marketplace like almost every other thing that I've had so far. So I've tried a few mobile lenses over the years, some cheap clip-ons, and even a couple from the Moment's older M Series line. So here's the 18mm M Series, and here's the T Series 75 Macro, and you'll see just how much larger the T Series Macro is. But honestly, I didn't love the other lenses that I purchased, so for this 18mm, I also had the 58mm telephoto as well. They made my images softer, felt like it distorted the edges, and just weren't worth the hassle, even though they were fun for a while. And I think for me, the problem was that the image quality and perspective they gave wasn't meaningful enough for me to deal with the additional bulk on the camera. So for a long time, I stuck with just the iPhone's native cameras or my actual compact or mirrorless camera setup. But this, the Macro 75, it's different. It's the first one that I feel is worth carrying with me on a day-to-day basis because it's such a unique use case and it's actually really fun to play with. So the Macro 75 is part of Moment's new T Series lineup, a redesigned mount and better edge performance, allegedly. And it attaches with a twist lock system. So you just twist it in, put it in, and twist. And there you go, it's on. Pretty simple. In general, the T Series lenses have a 20% larger aperture than the M Series, giving photos creamier bokeh and depth of field effects. I'd say the M Series was already pretty good in terms of build quality, and this feels very similar in terms of just feels like it's really well-made product. And it is obviously significantly larger than the 18mm M Series lens I have here. Look at how big the aperture is on this thing here. Oh. Looks like there's a little bit of dust on this end of the lens. I have been using this a little bit already, so I'm not surprised if there's a little bit of dust that I just didn't clear off. In the box, you got the lens, of course. You got a lens cap, and I'm pretty sure you can attach an ND or CPL filter here if you have the right adapter, which I didn't end up buying, so unfortunately I won't be able to test that. So Moment also sells a 10x macro, but I actually went with the 75. Why? Company line is that the alternative 10x macro is great if you want super abstract right up in their shots, but the 75mm lets you pull back just a bit and actually see what you're photographing. Leaves, fabric, little objects. So I think it gets in a bit closer. Now I didn't really find that helpful, but looking online, it seems like the 75 is a lot easier to use for moving subjects. So that's kind of the practical outcome that I concern myself with most of the time. And so it's great for studio work, but not for anything that's moving. And definitely not for someone like me who's often just photographing stuff with my kids. The 75 gives you more working distance. It's got a longer focal distance, so it's easier to keep the subject in frame and track. Now, since I plan on shooting with the kids a lot, I imagine I'll be creeping pretty close to bugs, even flowers moving in the wind. So the 75mm seems like a better choice for me. And as I noticed earlier, as I've said earlier, the mounting system is a huge win. It's twist, you just put it in, twist, lock, and go. The lens itself is obviously quite big for a cell phone lens, but it does get pretty small. If I put it into this pouch here, I can fit it into a shorts pocket or a pouch and into my Peak Design everyday sling and ride along with my Ricoh GR III and my DJI Pocket 3. Right now it is part of my everyday weekend carry, at least for now while I test it out. So here are some photos from my first few days with the macro lens. So far it's sharp where it counts, and the background blur does really add quite a bit of a cinematic feel to the photos. It feels very story-like. And honestly, it made boring stuff feel pretty interesting, exciting. This rusty screw, solitary flower, this Lego minifigure, they all look like they have a little story when you're getting this close and noticing details you might not have noticed before. And I've got a camping trip coming up in early August, so I'll be putting it through some more fun, rugged tests then. So expect to follow up with shots from that trip, a bit more formal review, dirts, bug, marshmallows. We'll see how it handles real life chaos. And I think there's like 10 kids going on this one, so it's gonna be pretty interesting. So again, so far, I really do like this lens. Does it replace a real macro camera or lens? I don't know. I never actually owned one of those, but it does give a really new perspective to phone photography, and I'm pretty excited in a way I haven't been in a while. I do use the macro function on the Ricoh GR quite a bit, so I might compare the two a little bit as well, but I can say just right off the top, the macro 75 moment lens goes quite a bit closer than the Ricoh. It obviously is a much more macro lens, particularly if you use the macro lens on the telephoto lens of the camera. It's the kind of thing that makes you slow down and look closer and see a new hidden world. And when I'm out with the kids, sometimes that is exactly the kind of tool I want in my pocket, just to kind of have a fun little afternoon with the kid. Now the full review is coming soon. Give me a couple more weeks and I'll have that plus a few more mosquito bites to show off. So if you're curious how this lens holds up in real world usage, definitely stick around, subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, slow down, look closer, and enjoy the little stuff. Peace.